Welcome to the 29th Annual Transitional Youth Gala. I'm Joshua Swanson, your host. Thanks so much for joining us. I am sincerely really excited to be here with all of you. It's really awesome that we can come together and reach and rescue youth and those aging out of the foster care system through Transitional Youth, right? So yay for us. We made it. COVID can't keep us down, right? And it is beautiful here tonight. Sorry? Virtual banquet. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense because I was kind of like, where are all the people at? Okay, so there's some downsides to a virtual banquet, like food's a lot better at the gala than out of my kitchen. But there are also some upsides, like we can go wherever we want. Huh? A little too hot. I don't like heat. Yes, keep it cool. Let's make it snow. Right? Who wants to go dancing, huh? Right, little shoulder action. No dancing. No dancing, everybody. You know what? I can change my look. Huh? Little of this? How about that? I know, it's so cool. But the virtual thing also gives us a chance to remove all of the distractions of a live environment and really focus on today's theme, which is focus. We'll specifically be focusing on two areas: updates on our organization and some stories of hope. So tonight you're going to hear some incredible testimonies of transformation that will deliver inspiration and prove that Transitional Youth is having a major impact on homelessness in Portland. So before we get into all that, let's get down to the nitty-gritty real fast, okay? Look, we gotta raise some money. We gotta keep this thing going, right? It is a fundraiser, virtual though it may be. So you got phone numbers, you got places you can text, you got online links you can click and donate. So please do that. And we have a matching grant, which is very exciting. So please participate. With that, I would like to pass it off to our very talented Executive Director, Rana Mall, for some updates on the organization. Take it away, Rana.
Good evening, everyone. I first wanted to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been such an interesting journey that we've been on the last few months, and obviously our original venue has changed and we're going virtual here, and it's all new territory for us. And so we just want to say thank you so much for joining us, for being a part of this, for supporting Transitional Youth. I would love to tell you a little bit of the history of Transitional Youth for those of you that have never heard of the story. Originally, Bert Waugh and Susie Waugh began bringing homeless youth into their home in the 70s. And it was about that time that Bert really had a heart to open up a ranch someday for homeless young men. And about 20 or 30 years later, that dream came true. He stayed the course and he saw it to fruition, and today we have a ranch, not only one ranch, but two for boys and a ranch for girls. And so in 1991, Bert started Transitional Youth officially, and we started serving youth on the streets of Portland. And for 20 years of the 29 years that we've been in existence, Bert and his team, Gary Gorsuch, the original director, served kids on the streets, meals, clothing, hygiene items, and loved on kids. Many were saved, many were set free, many are still friends of Transitional Youth today. And about 10 years ago, we opened up our first home, and since then have added 4 more. So currently, today, under the umbrella of Transitional Youth, we have 5 homes, one in Yakult, Washington, called the Ritz Family Ranch, one in Vancouver, the Junction House for young men, Vida's Ark in Vancouver for young mamas and babies, the Fortify House in Wilsonville for young men, and the Harmony House in Damascus for young girls. In addition to the 5 homes, we also have Breaking Cycles Coffee and Bike Shop on 33rd and Powell, our first youth apprenticeship program where our young people learn job skills. What does Portland celebrate? Bikes and coffee. So we decided to use those tools to reach young people and bring them into an excellent environment where they can learn barista work or bike mechanics, but most importantly, learn their value. One of the unique things about Breaking Cycles is the penny floor. So we want to invite you to come in, say hi to our apprentices when we get back open, and look at this penny floor and know the great value that's in them. Just like pennies, our young people are stepped over on sidewalks every day, and we want to give them an opportunity to understand and know their value as well. Thank you again for joining us. I'm excited for the rest of the evening and sharing it with you. And thank you for your generosity, because the truth is, this banquet will actually raise 1/3 of our annual budget. So we need you. We need your generosity. We need your prayer, your support, and your friendship. Thank you, thank you. And with that, I'll throw it back to Joshua.
Thank you, Rana. Isn't she awesome? We are so blessed to have Rana as our executive director. And what a natural, am I right? So next up, we have a piece that goes into some of the stories of our youth, and it is transformative. Take a look.
Transitional Youth has grown tremendously over this past 12 months. It's been a year of building and a year of transformation for so many young people. Currently, Transitional Youth has 5 homes: the Ritz Family Ranch in Yacolt, Washington, the Junction House in Vancouver, Vida's Ark for teen moms and babies in Vancouver, Fortify in Wilsonville, and Harmony House in Damascus. Transitional Youth has expanded beyond what we could have ever imagined. Our young people are searching for their identity, and they're finding an identity on the streets, in gangs, and among traffickers. Not only are they homeless, but they've been hopeless. Transitional Youth is the beginning point for many of our young people, and sometimes that just means the first glimmers of hope.
The atmosphere and the people here made me feel safe and made me feel secure that this place is a wonderful place to be and that this place is peaceful.
I remember walking into the TY house the first time, and I walked in and I set my bags down and then I just bawled. I was doing horrible things prior to being at TY. Once I was there, the things that were normal to me weren't normal anymore. It was just a whole new existence.
I would have anxiety attacks every day. I would have night terrors every night. With me being on the street, I couldn't hold a job down. I felt like that was gonna be my life, was just living on the street. When I first walked in, I felt like this was home. I felt relaxed and safe. I felt love in this place. I felt like I could actually be happy again.
We have young people in our program learning how to build structures and fences and in different areas of construction, tending orchards, learning small engine repair, learning bike mechanics, barista work, taking repurposed material and creating art and jewelry, working with horses that have been rescued. Life is happening in each of our homes. We're often asked the question, how can we help? But I think the better question is, how can we love? If we love them, that means we have to be committed to them in the process of their growth. If we simply just meet the basic needs of our young people, we're only perpetuating a dependence on a system that will keep them stuck. If that's where we stop, we're robbing them of their opportunity. Faithfulness is such a crucial element to this process of our youth moving to a point where they can begin to have hope for their own lives. It's not about just serving a young person through just a month of their life. The staff and volunteers of Transitional Youth are in it for the long haul. So many of the residents that we've had are lifelong friends and family. We're all the same, all are just humans, and we're facing each other and we're acknowledging our great need for one another.
All you need to do is change yourself and allow yourself to be changed. That's a significant thing. I have the power to do that.
We have young people that are in college full-time, pulling 4.0 GPAs. We have young people in their own apartments, establishing their own families, that never dreamed they could go to college. They've never dreamed that they could have a job that could actually pay their bills. They never dreamed that they would have a family. One of the most beautiful things to witness is to see the trajectory of our young people's lives literally change. So while the world has paused in some ways, the work that we do hasn't. Young people are still being served, they're being cared for, they're being loved, and lives are being changed.
That was great. What an inspiring story. So, how are the houses doing during this crisis?
Yeah, so all 5 of our homes are in full operation. We're serving a lot of kids. As a matter of fact, we have received some kids because other agencies during this really crazy time have shut down. So we've actually got referrals from other agencies that have had to close their doors, and we've brought them in. One of the beautiful things about what's happening at the Transitional Youth homes right now is that several of them are on a lot of acreage. And so we've got kids working with horses, and we're gonna have chickens on the properties pretty soon, and goats and gardens. And so while everyone is kind of shut in, there's a lot of life that's happening right now on our properties.
Wow, I'm a little jealous. I kind of...
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I know, right? Maybe it's a good time to go volunteer. Bring a mask, bring a mask. Please remember, this is a fundraiser. The links are below, the numbers are below. We would love you to donate so that we can keep this thing going and continue to serve those youth. So next up, Breaking Cycles. So what is going on? Is it open? Are we opening up again? How are we doing?
Yeah, so Breaking Cycles is not open right now, but we're excited because things are beginning to open up in Multnomah County. And so this very week, June 12th, Breaking Cycles will be open 1 day a week, and we're really excited. We did have to close the doors, just like other places in Portland, and comply with that, and that's been okay. But we're ready to get the doors open again. So if you need coffee or you need a bike, please get in touch with us. Visit our website. We would love to help you.
And with that, let's hear a little bit more about the story of Breaking Cycles.
I was actually born into homelessness. I was born in New Orleans and went straight from the hospital to a campground. When I was 10, my dad left my life entirely. He just disappeared one day and he never came back. And by 13, I was on the streets of Portland. The streets of Portland are pretty fierce and have very watchful eyes to find kids of 13 and 12 and 14 to grab hold of and exploit. And that's exactly what happened to me. The experience of physical hunger where a child is forced to trade their body for a bed or for a meal is a reality in our world today. Why wouldn't you want to die? And why wouldn't you want to use drugs? Why wouldn't you want to break into houses or be destructive when you don't have hope for tomorrow? Becoming pregnant at 14 was what saved my life. God revealed himself to me in such a powerful way. I was on the streets, I was high, I was using, and I was pregnant. And I had no concept of this child growing inside of me. I was walking down the street, I literally collapsed. I didn't trip, I literally went down. And I heard the words, "This baby isn't going anywhere." And in an instant, I was completely sober and in my right mind and aware of this child growing inside of me. And my decision was to do whatever it took to fiercely protect this baby growing inside of me. And from that day forward, I didn't use again. That I knew I needed to come back and help kids that I was. I knew there were so many more out there like me that needed to hear that they're worthy, that they're valuable, and God wanted to equip them to do the hard stuff. And so I went into school and volunteered a ton and have been working for over 20 years now with homeless and at-risk youth. And there was one evening I was at our outreach, and I watched one of our young men come in. His street name's Casper, and he was about 17 or 18 years old. And he came into our outreach and he was severely addicted to meth. And he sat at the table and he pulled change from his pocket and he put it on the table, and he separated the nickels and dimes and quarters from the pennies. And he put the silver back in his pocket and then kind of brushed the pennies aside. And I sat beside him and I said, "What'd you do that for, Casper? That's money too." And he said, "It's worthless." He said, "It's a lot like me, and I'm as worthless as the doorway that I sleep in." And I told him that wasn't true. That's not what God felt about him. And I told him about his value and how much Jesus loved him. And then I started telling him about my dream to someday have a cafe, a coffee and bike shop, and we were gonna lay a penny floor just to send a loud message to the community to show what tremendous value are in these young people that are stepped over on our sidewalks every single day. And all of a sudden his face lit up and he said, "You're gonna lay a penny floor." He said, "I can help you do that." He said, "I used to lay floors with my dad when I was a little boy." And he picked up the pennies from the table and he got down on his hands and knees and he started to press the pennies on the floor. And we made each other a promise that day. I said, "Casper, you're gonna come help me lay that floor when I get the shop." And so one of the photos in our shop today is of Casper helping lay this floor. Casper is not Casper. Casper's name is Travis. And today Travis is set free from drugs. So the Lord put Breaking Cycles on my heart as a way to use what Portland celebrates most, bikes and coffee. And one of the scriptures that the Lord put on my heart, one of the stories, is when God called Moses to set a nation free. And Moses, like me, argued and stuttered and said, but God, I can't do this. I'm paraphrasing. And God said to Moses, "What do you hold in your hand?" And Moses held a simple and humble shepherd's staff. What we hold in our hands in Portland are bikes and coffee. And the Lord challenged me to use what Portland celebrates, these tools that we hold in our hand, to set a nation free. And so that's what we're doing here at Transitional Youth Breaking Cycles, is using the tools in our hand to set the nation of homeless youth and at-risk youth in Portland free. Breaking Cycles is our vocational training spot where we bring in young people to train them in barista work and bike mechanics and give them basic and practical job skills that can be transferable to any job in the community. But the most important piece is that we get to dig down and introduce them to Jesus and the identity that they have in Christ. Not the identity that the world puts on them, not the labels that the world puts on them, but what does God say? Who does God say they are? So we get to share that good news with them. Portland celebrates bikes and coffee, and so really the concept was to take what Portland celebrates most and use them as a tool to raise awareness about what youth homelessness is and what it's not, and to work with at-risk youth. So it kind of levels the playing field in working with the community that celebrates these two amazing cultures, and then brings in an opportunity for our young people to come in and learn job skills. So Breaking Cycles is a nonprofit working with homeless and at-risk youth in Portland, and we do a paid apprenticeship for young people. They come in and it's a 12-week paid apprenticeship. So they're learning how to, they're learning job skills in barista work and bike mechanics.
What a combination.
Yes.
And like you said, it's so cool you brought the two things that people love here. So I feel like the name is pretty significant. So can you break down the name Breaking Cycles?
Breaking Cycles is the mission in our name. We're breaking cycles of hopelessness, homelessness, addiction, despair, depression. There's a lot of young people in this city that need help. They need to know that they're valuable, that they're loved. And so Breaking Cycles is a play on words. We're breaking cycles and at the same time offering hope.
A lot of times we see there's an issue and people go and they help the issue by kind of enabling it.
Right.
But you're taking people and giving them an opportunity to, yes, get back on their feet, but also learn those job skills and learn how to work.
Right.
So what is your kind of take on the homeless population and situation that's happening here that seems at a little bit of a higher rate than some other cities throughout the country?
Yeah, homelessness is epidemic here in the Portland area. And so our young people, what happens is they're coming from all over the United States, getting a one-way ticket to Portland because the services here are so robust. And they're landing in downtown Portland where all of those services are. And they're introduced to a street family. They're given a new name, a street name. They're given a new family. They call it their street family. They're given a purpose within that street family. All of a sudden, their whole world shrinks down to a few city blocks to the point they will lay their lives down for it. And so these kids are losing their lives, whether it be physically, they're overdosing, or they're being murdered, they're being jumped, or they're losing their lives by losing their mind through addiction and that kind of thing. And so at Breaking Cycles and Transitional Youth, we work with these kids and we help introduce them back to themselves. What is their name? Who is their tribe, their community? What is their purpose in that? That they would feel so fulfilled.
What is the story behind how these came to be? What is the penny? Obviously there's something here with these pennies.
Yeah, so the penny has become a powerful symbol for Transitional Youth Breaking Cycles. A lot like homeless people, we step over on the sidewalk. We step over pennies on the sidewalk, and so we relate that penny to what is stepped over on sidewalks. We wouldn't stop to pick up a penny, maybe for luck, but we wouldn't stop to pick it up because that's the piece that we needed to complete our transaction, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're stepping over human beings on sidewalks too. And so that penny has become the symbol that we use in relation to the youth that we work with that are literally stepped over on sidewalks. And it really is, this floor is a metaphorical and physical laying of a new foundation for the kids that we work with that have been stepped over on sidewalks. We want to send a message to them that they're valuable, that they're beautiful, that they're loved, that they're worthy, and then give them a chance to come in and learn a strong work ethic, that they don't have to stay stuck there.
How did we get this floor in here? What's the story with it?
The story is, I thought it was going to be a 2-week penny laying party, and it was 4 months.
Really?
So 200 volunteers, 1,500 volunteer hours. A lot of the young people that we work with actually came and helped lay this floor.
Okay.
And one of them, his street name is Casper. Casper was addicted to meth. He was one of those kids. We'd go to outreach and hang out with these kids and serve them a meal and hope that they would take the invitation to come into one of our homes and start a new life. But he was severely addicted and just skin and bones, about 6'2", and just so thin. And I would sit with them and have a meal with them and talk with them, and then I would cry all the way home. But there was one particular night where he came in and he sat at the table. He wouldn't eat, but he sat down just to get out of the cold, and he pulled the change out of his pocket. And he put all the nickels, dimes, and quarters here and the pennies in another pile, and he just kind of flung the pennies across the table. And I said, Casper, what'd you do that for? That's money too. And he said, it's worthless, just like me and the doorway that I sleep in. And all of a sudden, I was just overwhelmed with emotion. I'm overwhelmed now, and I just said, Casper, that's not true. You're valuable, you're loved, you're worthy. And I started to share this dream I had to have a coffee and bike shop, again, taking the tools that Portland celebrates most, and lay the floor in pennies to show the community, to show our kids that they're worth it, and just to send a message. And I said, Casper, I'm gonna lay a penny floor, I'm gonna open up this shop. And all of a sudden, his eyes lit up. And he said, Ron, I can help you lay that floor. I used to lay floors with my dad when I was a little boy. And he picked up the pennies off the table, and he got down on his hands and knees and started to press the pennies against the wall and the floor and tell me everything I needed to do to lay that floor. And so we made each other a promise that day. And I said, I'm gonna open that shop and you're gonna come help me lay that floor. And a few years later, he was in the shop helping me lay this floor.
No way.
Yeah, he's clean, he's working, he has his own place. We held each other to that promise. I have hope for them because I was one of these kids. I was homeless. I was 13 years old on these same streets. And as a matter of fact, slept under a bridge just about 3 miles up the road. And so this was my story. And it's why I have such great hope for these young people, because I was there.
Yeah.
I was pregnant at 14 and had a baby then, and was on the streets and using in the same kind of cycle that a lot of these young people are in. And so I have such great confidence that I can walk into these circles with these kids and say, there's a way out, there's hope.
Such a powerful symbol, right? The penny. And I also want a cup of coffee now.
Yes.
Right? It's like an addiction with the coffee. That was a beautiful story. So next up, we've got Harmony House and Junction House, and a mix of Hollywood and Mark Wahlberg, and I can't wait to see this, but what's going on?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So Mark Wahlberg production came into town with a tour bus looking for inspirational stories about youth. They found us. Out of all of the agencies that they could have found, they found us, which was extraordinary. And we were able to introduce them to one of our young men, Chance, who was at the Junction House and filmed at Harmony House.
Awesome. Let's take a look.
My brother's actually joined first because he was tired of the town he was in. He was tired of, drug use, and he was tired of the same old stuff. So he had left and was homeless here for a while, and then he had found this program through their outreach on the streets actually, and ended up joining up through them. I let everyone go first. My mom and dad came here. I stayed with my friends. I decided, I want to keep doing the life, because that's the only life I knew. So I decided, stay there and just do what I know. And it ended up really bad for me, and I ended up coming down here. I had nothing left.
Yeah.
I was living out of abandoned houses and, no power, just no water, just doing whatever. And
Yeah.
it was pretty bad, yeah. It was like right on my birthday, basically, and I was staying with my friend, and his mom had got arrested, and I decided to just come down here and be with the family because I didn't want all that commotion. That's all I ever knew was, doing bad stuff and using drugs and, just being lazy and doing nothing with my life. That's all I knew. And I was like, I don't want to be an adult yet. I don't want to be an adult yet. And I said that to myself for far too long.
Yeah.
I was just to the point where I was like, what am I doing right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I and who do I want to be? And why start that later when I can start that right now?
Yeah.
And I woke up one morning and my brother was there, and I was like, I want to go. I want to get it done. I want to be who I've always wanted to be.
That's so cool, man.
Rana and the past stories like Jake and Jason and all these people have always been there since day one to support me, no matter what. I've messed up. I've messed up in this program, and I've done bad again. But it's not like they're like, oh, boo you've done bad again, They pick me back up and they rise me up again, and it's their family. They're all family here, and it's the greatest thing you could hope for.
That was so fantastic. I just can't believe how God works, right? Mark Wahlberg shows up with a giant bus and a crew, and they tell your story. I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What a blessing. So next up, we have our final story, which is an incredibly inspirational story. It involves whittling wood and life change and the second graduate from TY.
Yeah.
What are we going to see?
Yeah, so Jared is the second graduate of Transitional Youth 10 years ago, I think about 10 years ago. And when he was out at the ranch, he was walking along and saw an old stump on the property and considered himself to be like that old dead stump, not going anywhere. And he was inspired by it because he felt the transformation in himself, and he took the wood from that stump and he created a guitar, this beautiful guitar, and presented it to our founder, Bert Waugh. And so this is his testimony.
Wow, what a powerful metaphor. Let's take a look.
Hi guys, my name is Jared Curtis. I just want to take a few minutes and I want to talk to you about TY, about Transitional Youth and what they do and what they've done in my life and how impactful Transitional Youth has been. And it's amazing that you can invest, you can plant a seed into something that grows such massive fruit that you would have never imagined it from the little seed that you planted. And that's the story of my life. That's the story of my life at TY. At 24, I entered the program, the Home on the Range, and I was a mess. I was just a mess. My soul and my heart was a mess. My mind, mentally, I just needed a lot of help, a lot of work. I had a lot of hope issues. I had a lot of, addiction issues and other things, but really I just didn't know how to do life well. And the people at TY came around me like just a massive hug. And all those at Transitional Youth, Bert Waugh and Ron Wonger all these people just came around me and they showed me something so beautiful. And it really is so powerfully transforming and impacting when people really genuinely just love you and let you be in your process and give you hope that there's something better coming. And it's so true. Everyone that enters the doors of TY, there's something better coming for them. And so now it's been 10 years. I'm 34 today, and it's just been amazing. I've been able to impact thousands of people with that same hope and that same love. And I have a family. I have 3 kids. I have a beautiful, amazing wife. Our marriage is incredible. And I have this community I get to invest in. I have a career. I'm a certified safety professional. I finished my degree. I'm working on starting a business with my wife, a second business. And we're so grateful and we're so honored for the investment that's been placed into us through TY. And my wife gets to benefit from it. My kids get to benefit from it. And I am the person I am today because of what was sown into me at the Home on the Range program and during my time in Transitional Youth. And it's amazing because I don't share all this with you because I've done amazing things. I share all this with you because I have a testimony, and you're part of that testimony because you sowed into my life through Transitional Youth. And that investment is going to keep on producing amazing fruit year in and year out. And the hopelessness that young men and women are carrying around is going to be broken off. And they're going to get to experience a better day tomorrow than they've had in the past. And that's a beautiful thing to get to be a part of. So I love you, Transitional Youth. I love everything you're doing. And I will forever be grateful for what you've sowed into my life and how it's impacted the world around me.
Awesome. Wow. So many inspirational stories. And there's so many more to come because Transitional Youth is stronger than ever. Look, I'm a supporter and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the amazing work that you do. Thank you to all the donors that gave and that are still giving. Wink, wink. Please, we have a matching grant. Please help us. Please help us fill our budget gap and get 1/3 of our budget.
Yes.
In one shebang.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, but we got this. God is a big God, so we got this. Thank you. I mean, who else do you have to thank for this?
Oh, so many people. I just want to say thank you for every person watching, every friend and supporter. Every dollar matters and every prayer matters. We want you to know that your prayers matter. So please don't underestimate that power. There truly are young people being served. Their lives are being transformed. They're being set free to be the young people, the young adults that God's called them to be. So thank you, thank you. Thank you for your generosity and your prayers. And we also want to say thank you to Michael Allen Harrison and Aaron Myers for the beautiful music that you're about to hear as we close tonight.
That's right. We got some musicians to play us out. Thanks everybody for participating in our virtual banquet. Hopefully we will see you again next year in person.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right. See you, everybody.
Thank you.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You imagine no possessions. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. It's a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people living life as one. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. No, 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 no. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Oh, we must live as one. Oh, for the babies, yes, for the children, we must live as one.